Welcome to Inside the Contest. I'm Jax, and I'm thrilled to bring you the latest and greatest in Marvel Contest of Champions news. On this episode of Inside the Contest, get ready for a first look at the beginning of Act 8, exciting changes to our newest game mode Battlegrounds, and our two newest champions joining the contest. To get things started, let's bring in our narrative designer, Max.
Hey there, Summoners! I'm here to give you an update on the next chapter of Story Quest with Act 8, Chapter 1, Casting Shadows, coming out on September 14th. Karina's back, and this time, she's trying to put the Shattered Avengers back together by burying old grudges between Iron Man and Captain America. Karina will have to team up with the Summoner and a brave new ally to unmask and thwart the plans of mysterious menaces bent on destroying both Karina and the Avengers. I'm excited to have Summoners experience the newest chapter in the contest, but for now, back to Jax.
Thanks, Max. Of course, 8.1 doesn't just mean a new storyline. Weapon nodes are a new addition that will give all defending champions on a corresponding path a powerful weapon to use against exploring summoners. However, each weapon node can be temporarily disarmed, exposing defenders to additional damage. Each weapon path introduces a new set of challenges and presents summoners with different avenues to disarm weapon nodes, adding a variation of difficulty with each playthrough. A new evil presence has infiltrated the battle realm and is quietly corrupting its inhabitants from the shadows. After being infected by this new evil's influence, Black Widow's mind and body become twisted by its terrible will, corrupting and transforming her into SCYTALIS, Agent of Ouroboros. In addition to her powerful special attacks, SCYTALIS will periodically leave traps on the ground for unsuspecting players to fall into. Traps will root and immobilize anybody that steps into them, allowing SCYTALIS to move in for the final strike. SCYTALIS will also thwart players' attempts to deal large chunks of damage with her corrupted armor and the use of a powerful evade. This evade can be countered with precise timing, but grants her power every time she succeeds. Players can look forward to facing off against SCYTALIS at the end of the chapter and formulating the best strategy to use her own traps against her. Now, let's throw things over to Mike, who's sitting down with two members of our dev team to discuss the newest additions to Battlegrounds.
I'm here with Harold and Tyler, and they're going to tell us what we can expect from Battlegrounds when they launch later this September. You guys, thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
So we made a number of big improvements to Battlegrounds before they come out. The first of which is a new progression rank system. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so over the last several months, we've been working on this big feature to kind of revamp the ranking and the progression system of Battlegrounds. So for our launch, we're excited to add a victory track, is what we're calling it. In the victory track, when you win a match, you earn a medal, and players have to collect a certain amount of medals to graduate into the next rank. The player's primary goal is to try and graduate out of the entire victory track, and once they do, they'll end up in the Gladiator circuit, which is a ranking system. So just like in Alliance Wars, you have to play against the most competitive players in that system, and then you'll be given rank rewards at the end of the season based on where you're placed.
So this is really where we're going to find like the top summoner in the contest.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. So our players have lots of champions. How are we enabling them to use more of them and optimizing strategies for each?
For sure, yeah. This was a major piece of feedback that we got from our earlier beta tests, is that, as you said, players have a lot of champions. They want to use them all. So what we're going to introduce with the release of Battlegrounds is the ability for players to save multiple decks. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to allow you to take your current mastery tree and save it onto any one of those given decks. So if you've got your Mystic champions and you want to, build a Mystic Dispersion mastery tree, you can do that. If you want to take your Liquid Courage and Double Edge masteries and put that on a deck, you can do that.
That sounds really awesome. But for summoners who don't have as many champions, maybe they don't really get to choose much of a strategy per deck, what are we doing for them?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things we've seen from player feedback over the betas is that the champion charge system was very restrictive for those players who didn't have a very wide roster. And obviously we want our players to be able to engage with the mode as much as they want. So we're happy to announce that for our launch, we're actually going to get rid of champion charges completely. So players can enter and play the mode as much as they want.
So another thing players have been asking for Since we launched Battlegrounds, the first beta is the ability to play with their friends. Are friendly matches on their way?
Yes, with the launch of Battlegrounds, we are going to have friendly matches. You're going to be able to take your friends list and your alliance mates and invite them to any Battlegrounds match. There's not going to be any energy cost, so you can play as many of these friendly matches as you want to.
Okay, that's awesome. Battlegrounds launching later this September. Can't wait for you to try it.
Hello, Summoners. I'm Stuart, here to give you your first look at the 2 new champions coming to the contest this September. Through Dr. Doom's twisted science, this champ was transformed into a superpowered bully and formidable villain. She's constantly picking fights to prove just how strong she is, especially with her arch-rival, She-Hulk. Welcome to the contest, Titania. Hot on the heels of an epiphany out of his calling in life, and with Tony Stark in a coma, Dr. Victor Von Doom decided to take up the mantle of the armored adventurer, becoming the infamous Iron Man. When designing Infamous Iron Man, I wanted to pay homage to Dr. Doom through the lens of the Iron Man. This is good Doom. He's still imposing, he still deals with threats the way Victor Von Doom would, but he's not as downright cruel. When playing as Infamous Iron Man, there are a wide variety of options depending on the situation as well as your playstyle. The Doom Heavy's back. Shock your opponents with medium attacks and go straight into your heavy attack in that classic Doom style. Infamous Iron Man has his own version of the Aura of Hazareth called the Aura of Iron. In addition to being triggered on his special attacks, his Heavy briefly triggers this aura. This can allow summoners to maximize the potential of his SP2 right out of the gate, and even power burn the defender down from their SP3. As an attacker, he controls the fight with copious amounts of power burn and special lock. He has one of the longest duration special locks that we've put onto an attacker so far. Infamous Iron Man is a hard counter to champions like Bishop, who gain prowess very quickly. By turning prowesses into energy vulnerability debuffs, he can melt through even the most resistant mutant. He's also immune to the Incinerate from Bishop's SP1, and he can even block Bishop's unblockable attacks. I had a ton of fun creating the synergies for this champion with various Iron Men, the Fantastic Four, Dr. Doom, and a handful of others. If you're a fan of the Infamous Iron Man comic run, keep an eye out for some real flavorful stuff. I'm excited to see how our summoners utilize our 2 newest champions. That's all for me. Sending things back to Jax.
That's all the news we have for you this time, Summoners. I want to thank our guests for sharing their insights into all the exciting new content coming this fall. What features are you most excited for? Sound off in the comments below. Until next time, I'm Jax, and I'll see you in the contest.
If you've got champions that work well with Double Edge and Liquid Courage, you can save a specific mastery tree to that deck.
I thought there was more, sorry.
Just a blank stare.